get this thing started. Thank you for tuning in to Muse by Mariah, the podcast, where we dive deep into discussing mind, body, and soul. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Muse by Mariah, the podcast. Today I have one of my good friends on, Kait Rodriguez.
Hi everyone.
She's wrote some articles for my website already that are actually in the astrology section, all about the moons, part 1 and 2. And you did some recipes for me too.
I did. I think I did my smoothie bowl, my acai bowl.
And your lemon pepper salmon, which banging. But today's episode is called The Breakfast Club because we just made breakfast.
If you guys go to Trader Joe's,
vegan breakfast too.
I would highly recommend getting the soy chorizo. And then we also paired it with some avocado toast and some mimosa because
we're having mimosas.
It's Halloween weekend. You have to drink. I'm sorry. I mean, if you don't, that's fine.
No pressure, no peer pressure. But yes, we're enjoying a mimosa right now, and we're about to get into all things astrology. Yeah. Kind of like a basic version, just astrology 101. We're going to dive into the signs, what they are, and how they represent us, how they represent how we interact with each other, and
just it's more of like a personal kind of like reflection, I feel like, of how our astrology sort of makes our personality.
Because it's so accurate. Mm-hmm. Like when you narrow it down, like, okay, so before anyone begins, if you want to download the app CoStar, you just need to know your obviously first and last name, the place that you were born, and the time that you were born. And it will tell you everything you need to know about your chart. So definitely recommend doing that if you want to know. But it's just
definitely a good beginner
app.
For all the girls who are sort of advanced in the astrology sort of conversation, I do recommend AstroSeek. It's a website. It kind of dives into, we're not going to get into the craziness of it, but like the degrees and the houses. And there's also different parts of the zodiac that, there's different kind of conspiracies. So sidereal astrology, tropical astrology, all of that. If you know what all of that is, and even if you don't, AstroSeek is a good resource that you can use.
Is it a website or an app?
It is a website. I don't know if it's an app actually, but I use their website.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at it.
Yeah.
So first, let's get into what the signs are. I know me because me, I'm an Aries. Aries is first,
of course, and then there's Taurus.
No, Taurus is next.
There's Taurus, and then there's Gemini, then Leo. We messed up.
We missed Cancer.
Yeah, it's Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn,
Pisces.
Aquarius,
Pisces. Yes.
And then the cycle repeats again.
And Aries is the first in the zodiac.
Yes.
Because we're the best.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. And
a Capricorn would have to argue with that, but that's
no, but we always get along.
Yeah.
Fire, like what I was thinking, which is crazy, that all my immediate family members are fire signs. I'm an Aries. Mm-hmm. My mom's an Aries. Amma, which is my grandma, is an Aries. Brandon, my brother, is an Aries. My dad is a Sagittarius, and then my stepdad's a Leo.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually really that's not like it's like weird, but like that's
like a chaotic
unusual. Yeah.
Like we go at each other's throats.
I can't. Yeah. From like what you told me.
Because none of our signs are grounding signs, we literally just come at each other all the time.
And what's interesting is that the elements sort of create what we call sister signs. So earth signs usually can get along with water signs, and the same can be said with air and fire. But also we're earth and fire.
I feel like I don't know many air signs.
I don't like air signs. I'm sorry if you're an air sign. I just have problems with people in my life who are air signs, and that's fine.
That's completely fine. So what she's talking about is once you have your, is it 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 12 zodiac signs. Then it's broken down into your elements. So there's fire signs, air signs, earth signs, and Water signs.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely like jumped into it. Yeah, this is supposed to be a basic like like tutorial.
Right into it.
Right.
She's like, I hate those air bitches. So those are broken down. So fire signs are Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. And obviously fire can speak for itself. They're very fiery, aggressive, passionate, determined. Any other characteristics you can think of?
I feel like you guys are stubborn in the most like, it comes off in the way that you guys...
An egocentric way.
Yeah, like you guys just want certain things to get done and that's totally fine. But then like when you interact with people who don't, you know, again, personalities clash, like it sort of manifests that way. Like you guys are just you're very on top of what you want.
Yeah.
100%.
In anything
which I think is very
It's
good.
a pro and a con.
It is a pro and a con.
It's a con because sometimes it can hinder some relationships and damage
100%.
them.
Yeah.
But then it's a pro because we're always on our shit. Like
Right.
we know what we want, we do what we want, and we just keep going.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have our things that, you know, that we do that other people may not agree with. So that's why you have to like live loud and unapologetically.
All the Aries that I've known, they're all kind of the same, whereas it's like work driven.
Yeah.
Like we're very tunnel vision on work and success and career and all that stuff.
Money is very important to you guys.
Yes. But all of them that I've met have been the same, besides my brother, but everyone else has been the same.
That's why when we talk about, you know, I'm an Aries, I'm a Scorpio, I'm a Leo, that's usually what we call your sun sign. And how I describe it is my roommate Nat sort of calls it like, you know, you go to a party and your sun sign is like what you really like show to people. Or, like the first time you walk into a party and you're like introducing yourself, that's more like your sun sign. And then we can like dive into yes. It's kind of like the iceberg of the surface.
Yeah. We'll dive into that more after we finish the elements. But then the second element, we have Earth, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn.
The best. Unbiased opinion.
You guys are definitely the most, I feel like, stable that I've known. You guys are mellow-headed. Like I've never
very logical.
Yeah, I've never seen you like act out aggressively. Like wherever I've had my fair share of like just attack.
I think it again, like it just presents differently because I sort of bottle it in because Capricorns are known to be very just like
empaths.
Yeah, and like internal, like we just take it all in instead of like leaving it out to the world. And sometimes like, you know, that can be good to a certain point. I think that bottling in too much, no matter who you are, is not a good thing because when it just blows up, you know, it's horrible. Yeah,
and then I feel like you guys, because you guys don't normally act out, depending on obviously what your moon and rising are, but because you don't act out aggressively, you kind of get into that like sad stage instead of you never hit the angry stage. It just goes from that to sad.
I feel like I get frustrated, but then like since no one sees it, I'm like, why is no one like seeing how mad I am? But then I have to be like, bitch, like you're not really like,
you're not
showing it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how my other Earth friends, she reacts to. She never had a reaction to anything. I'm like, don't you want to punch something right now? Like my fire energy was like, let's punch something. Let's throw shit. Let's work out. Like,
I think it's hard because you definitely have, at least for Earth signs, my opinion, you know, you have something like telling you like it's fine. Don't. I kind of like feel like my brain says don't react, and I don't know kind of how I feel. I'm still navigating how I should, you know, react in certain situations.
But I think that makes it tough because you shouldn't put a label on how you should react. You shouldn't.
I know.
Every situation's different.
It's taken, almost 23 years for me to still unlearn. So...
unlearn past traumas.
Exactly.
Childhood traumas. We're still learning and we're still healing.
The thing is that I saw the other day that this point of our life, you know, people think that your 20s should be like, you have life like down pan figure out because, you know, we're adults, we're either living on our own or like we're graduated or we're working or, you know, we're trying to like find a name for ourselves. But what I call this timeline is like your primer. You know, people say like your 20s are your prime, but I feel like it's your primer because like I feel like your 30s and your 40s like that's when you are more secure. You know, like life can change next week.
Yeah, there's so much pressure on ourselves between this this age group.
In our priming stage. I feel like we're like marinating.
If we're meat. We're marinating, and well, we're vegans now.
Oh yeah.
But we're marinating in
100%.
some steak sauce.
You can
garlic.
still marinate vegetables, right?
Okay, the next sign is our water signs. I think these are my least favorite, but water signs are Cancer, Scorpios, and Pisces, and they are known to be super sensitive, emotional. A lot of the times they consider
very much
themselves
empaths
loyal.
also.
Yeah, but I feel like, okay, so let's get into Scorpios, because Scorpios, the biggest misunderstanding is that people think they're fire signs because they're also very aggressive. And I feel like they show they're emotional, but they show their emotions in a completely different way than Cancers and
Well,
Pisces
I think
do.
the reason that is because, again, I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, but we can dive into this later. You know, with the signs, we're in elements and we're categorized in that way, but we're also ruled by planets, and Scorpio and Aries are ruled with the same planet of Mars.
By Mars. Yes.
So imagine, like, it just, the same energy that you would see in an Aries and a fire sign, it manifests in a water sign. Just, that's why they're kind of closed off.
Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't even
and they're
think
kind of
of
like
that.
mysterious about it. You know, sometimes like it kind of takes them hard to open up. And it also, like, if you have
Scorpios.
that, yeah, and if you have that in your moon sign or somewhere where you have to like kind of deal with your emotion,
Yeah.
they might not sort of be easy with, and that's fine. You know, people can be closed off.
Honestly, all the Scorpios I've met in my life have been straight up asshole. Let me not say all, because one of my close guy friends is a Scorpio, and he's different.
It's a Mariah's friend who's a Scorpio.
But like my ex coworker, that fucking I don't work there anymore, but that bitch was one of the nastiest bitches I've ever met in my life. She was a Scorpio. And she just had she had emotions, but she had no emotions. I'm like, how are you not understanding the wrong in this current situation?
Yeah.
Like, she was just like a wall. Like, she was just
They have their
mean,
own way of
nasty, and
thinking.
aggressive.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my ex was a Scorpio. That motherfucker was just he was something else. He was something else. I just don't think I personally get along with Scorpios. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't. I can't do it. If someone tells me that I'm that bitch, that if someone tells me they're a Scorpio, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I will not date you. Goodbye.
I don't think I've been close to Scorpios. I'm trying to like think of any Scorpio, at least suns. Scorpio placements, there's a lot. My best friend is a Scorpio, Mars. So that kind of, you know, and then Mars is the planet of aggression. So that kind of comes up sometimes, but I don't think I know any Scorpio suns. Honestly, like, I'm kind of happy about
I don't know
that.
any close to me. Those were ones that just happened to
even
come up.
in like my family or in like in my friends, I don't really
you know who's
people who are
actually a
suns.
Scorpio? They just thought of Richard's a Scorpio.
Oh my god, hi Richard.
But he's borderline Scorpio. He's the 24th of October.
Okay.
So he's literally like
That's
2 days in.
Yeah.
So he's not, I mean, he's still a Scorpio, but he's like not a full on.
That's where what we talked about yesterday, where degrees come in. Because like if you're born so close to the start of your zodiac, like your degree of when you were born I don't know, this is confusing, but it's
Just
sort of
explain it, because I don't even get it.
So like if you're born, you know, let's say like Scorpio starts on what, the 22nd?
The 22nd, yeah.
Okay. And if you're born literally the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, you're still at the beginning stages. Like there's still kind of a little bit of the Libra energy sort of ending off and then starting off Scorpio. So that also kind of like, you know how many people say like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, but like I don't fit into the Scorpio signs, or like what people say Scorpios are. And that could be for many reasons, but that could be also like if where you land on your zodiac, how much of that you present in your life.
Is there a difference between, like, for example, people are like, oh, I'm an April Aries, I'm a March Aries. Is there a difference in that?
People say that they are. I kind of don't. Not like I agree with that. I think that we all have our different opinions on that. I don't know, honestly. I feel like people sort of, there's so many different traits to different signs that like, it's kind of hard to be like, okay, you're a March Aries.
Yeah. And like, for example, if it's, because Aries starts on March 21st or 22nd.
Yeah.
And if
that's
I'm
already
the end of March.
Yeah.
And then my family members are like the beginning of April. I'm like, there can't be that much difference.
There is. I don't think there is. I think that
two.
it's just bias. Like people might be like, oh, March Aries are better. You know, I don't know any April Aries.
My mom and are April Aries. Me and Brandon.
Do you see a difference? Because also like the difference could also mean like the rest of their chart.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. I would like to see what my mom is because she's like a firecracker. You know,
I would love to see what her rising is.
I know, I would too. I actually do want to see. I want to see what Brandon's is too because he's not a regular sun Aries. He has to have some other lazy rising and moon. Maybe. Now I gotta look.
What else do we have?
The last one, because we did water, right? So the last one's air. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. They're known for being smart, intellectual, good communicators. I also feel like they're the ones who kind of, I don't know, they're just not really talked about. Like the cons that I've heard a lot about Gemini is being two-faced. Have you heard that? Two sides?
Yeah, that's anyone who knows Gemini or astrology would say like, yeah, two-faced or multiple personality. And I feel like that's just very much superficial, kind of talking about the signs. I feel like they're so charismatic and they can sort of dive into any conversation that I feel like they can be anyone's friend, and maybe that's why they're considered two-faced. But I feel like that's just like they just love to talk. Again, Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury, and that's the planet communication. So, you know, there might be extroverts and just, you know, love to talk and love to be around people.
Yeah.
So like maybe that's why people call them two-faced.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that because everyone's like, I forgot who it was. Not that I would say a name anyway, but I feel like it was either in high school or within my first year of college that someone was a Gemini and they were literally like, I could see the two-faced energy, but she was like a bitchy Gemini. Like she would say one thing to your face and then say something else behind your back. And I'm like, oh, that's the two-faced Gemini energy that I came to understand.
Yeah. I feel like
I never thought about how you just described it.
Yeah. I feel like I also dealt with that with, you know, Gemini suns in my life that did come across, you know, kind of fake, but also I've come across signs who were not Geminis and they were also kind of fake too. But I feel like they just love to have a conversation, you know.
Interesting. And then Libras, I don't know much about Libras. Libras, their sign, isn't it
the scales?
The scale, right?
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Libras could fit the role of two-faced more than Gemini.
I feel like they're the middleman and stuff.
I feel like they can be everyone's best friends.
Yes.
And you can't get along with everyone.
Yes.
You can't be neutral in black and white situations.
Right.
And they want to fit that way because I feel like they also kind of avoid conflict too. And they're sort of, you know, people call them, what's that? They say that they can't make decisions.
Indecisive?
Yeah. I totally blanked on that word. And, you know, they sometimes can't come to a solid opinion. And that's just how
they try to be, what is this saying? The country, Switzerland? They're like Switzerland.
Oh, yeah. They're like neutral.
They're neutral.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know many Libras or Aquariuses. Well, Aquarius.
My dad's an Aquarius.
Is Bad Bunny Aquarius?
No, he's a Pisces. With a Pisces moon.
Pisces. You're right. Okay, I knew he was
feelings.
I knew he was.
That's why he's always sad.
Aww.
That's why
he
feels it a lot.
Benito. So next, we'll get into, as we kind of briefly mentioned, our sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs. But for people who are listening, they're probably like, "What the fuck are these bitches talking about?"
Oh my god, there's so many. You can go to like Saturn, Jupiter, Mars.
Well, basics, not to get into
I'm
super
just saying.
Specifics. Our sun sign, like we said before, kind of represents your identity in essence. It's who you are to the world. So it's how you said before is like when people first meet you, like this is what you exude.
Exactly. And sort of, you know, first impression, you know, we're never going to be our true self when meeting someone new or like being around people that we're not comfortable with. And that's just a human sort of response. At least for me, I consider myself more of an introvert. So when I meet someone for the first time, it kind of takes me a while to open up.
You definitely are an introvert, but when people know you, you're so extroverted.
I know. No, that's the thing. Like when it comes to people that I don't know, unless like I'm drunk and like I'm like, hi, you know, I kind of just get shy a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like the clown in the room whenever I know people.
Yeah.
So it's like the best of both worlds, I guess.
It is the best of both worlds. And I feel like that's how people picture me because like I have a obviously really bad resting bitch face, and like I'm not approachable.
I'm always smiling at people though.
Yeah, see, I don't, but I don't realize that I don't do it. So people think I'm
like you're
introverted, but in an angry way.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like I just don't like talking to people. It gives me anxiety. But it's funny because the amount of people, I actually had someone recently, someone who we went to high school with. We were talking about crystals and like zodiac signs just randomly. I think I posted something from my website and they commented on it. And he was, he was saying that he and his girlfriend were just looking at people's Instagrams and trying to guess what sign they were.
Oh, that's so fun.
And that his girlfriend guessed my sign correct. And she was like, well, she has her website and like she's clearly doing shit like entrepreneurial. And I was like, that's so funny because everyone who meets me is like, are you an Aries? I remember when I worked in Stuart Weitzman, my last job, my manager that I had at the time, a newer manager, it was literally within the first week. I met her a few times before she was the manager, but I think it was within like the first few weeks that she started running our store. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I was sitting and I had like, I think a low bun. And she was like, are you an Aries? No, but the reason why I'm saying that is because she was like, are you an Aries? And I was wondering if she saw my tattoo on my neck. So I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, did you see my tattoo? And she was like, no. She was like, I've been wondering this for a while, but I just knew you were, so I just needed to ask. And she goes, because I'm an Aries too. And she was like, the way that we work and the way that you work and I see how you work, like you're an Aries. And everybody says that about me. And I'm like...
You know what's really funny? I forgot who I was talking to, but I said that, my Aries friend has a podcast. And they said that they know someone else who's an Aries and has a podcast.
It's always these Aries.
And it's just really funny. Like, think about it. Like, there's a lot of people... I'm blanking now that I said this. But there's people who are famous and are Aries. Like, the late singer, Selena Quintanilla, she was an Aries as well. And she became so famous and she's so talented. And I think that just...
Lady Gaga has the same birthday
Lady Gaga is... Oh my God. I did not know that she was an Aries. Again, another bad bitch. So... It does make sense. You guys are...
And Mariah Carey, she's the day before my birthday.
That's
ironic,
insane.
considering I'm an icon and my name is Mariah too.
Literally.
Fun fact, I was named after Mariah Carey.
That makes sense, and look at her.
You know what, you want to hear something funny? This is off topic, but it's a running joke in my family.
It's okay.
My dad wanted me to name me Priscilla after Elvis Presley's girlfriend at the time.
Absolutely not.
Can you imagine my name being Priscilla?
Priscilla Martinez in the building.
That's disgusting.
Muse by Priscilla.
That's disgusting.
Oh my God.
But thank God my mom won and fought that battle because I'm Mariah now. Muse by Mariah.
It fits
period. Better. So after your sun sign is your moon sign, which controls your emotions and how you deal with things, conflicts, relationships, etc. I
also kind of think of internal thoughts, I feel like whenever I'm thinking, I feel like, my brain's kind of talking to me at this, even though if I talk to someone, then I feel like my brain's also talking to me. And I feel like that's what, what the moon carries also. The moon sign, sort of your internal thoughts and your internal reflection. Morals, I feel like is very important. People look over on top of emotions, how you present yourself, based on your beliefs and what you think is right, and
it's your reactions to shit too.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
See, this is what confuses me, right? Because my moon is Virgo. So what would that make me? How would a Virgo moon react to a situation normally?
I feel like
analytical. They're very analytical, articulate,
you
perfectionist.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think based on logic or do you react? Well, I feel like that's kind of hard because since you are an Aries, you tend to react.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then how do you feel whenever, you how do you feel in the process of a heartbreak, for example?
Oh, I want to kill myself.
That's sort of a bad question.
Just kidding.
But, in terms of really hard situations where there is a lot of emotions involved and, do you shut out? I feel like
I feel like I do, but I feel like I snap myself out of it. But it's like, it's not like a gradual thing. Like, it's just one day I'll wake up and I'll be like, get the fuck up. Like, let's keep it going. But I feel like that's my Aries. That's like telling myself to like, what are you doing? Like,
but that can also be, I think you're also Virgo rising, which I am too. So I feel like, you know, I feel like we're so hard on ourselves, and the way Virgos are known to be criticizing people and like have that sort of criticism, and not sort of judgy, but like it's just like, again, it's like areas where you want to be on top of how you want to present your life, and things, something that's not like that, you sort of have an opinion on. And I feel like you take that into yourself. A lot of self-criticism. Like do you feel like you... Sometimes when I feel like I've been sad for too long, I'm like, bitch, get it together. Like, what are you doing? Exactly and that's not cute, because like you're not being kind to yourself. And you're not letting yourself feel what you need to feel. You know? Sometimes
it's a day, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's longer.
And I was just telling someone, what Beyonce does is that she takes a day to feel. But I feel like a day's not enough. But she's also a Virgo. Yeah. So that makes sense. You know, like you feel like you can't feel too much. You don't want to be that person that's like showing how vulnerable you are and how,
because then you overwhelm yourself, which is what
I feel like I overwhelm myself whenever I don't express it. Also, if I keep it in, I feel like there's so much going on, and I get frustrated because I don't have an outlet to sort of release that. But then at the same time, you know, I don't give myself the opportunity to
do that.
Yeah,
being your Virgo rising.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what rising represents then, because I feel like moon and rising, they're kind of intertwined in a lot of ways. So your rising represents the way others see you. And ironically,
kind of like looking glass self. I don't know if you remember that from, did you take any sociology classes?
I did, but I don't think I showed up to most of the classes.
Think of the looking glass self. It's like, you know, you don't feel, how do I say that? I don't want to mess this up. It's like you don't feel what you think others perceive you as, or you don't feel like what you perceive as. You feel what you think the other person thinks of you as. So like, for example, I act in front of you the way I think you're going to accept how I am, rather than like how I should be. Okay. And that's how I feel like the rising sort of kind of, you know, again, we're in a society where like we have to be just surrounded by people, and we're always going to have our biases and how, you know, we should act in a certain way. So we can, I think it's like a switch where whatever sign that we're in, we sort of like try to present the good part of it instead of being like, and then like your rising kind of forces you to be like, no bitch, like this is like how you need to act.
Which is funny because my moon and rising are both same. Virgo.
Yeah. My younger brother is also a Virgo moon and rising. Again, what we talked about, like your family's all fully Aries. I feel like I surround myself with a lot of Virgo placements.
Of the same.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy.
But I feel like that happens naturally. It's not, obviously you're not going up to people and be like, what's your sign? Okay,
I mean,
let's be
but
friends.
think about the people in your life. Like obviously, like you don't meet people based on their astrology, but like after you meet someone and you're like, by the way, like, yeah, what's your sign? And most of the time it's kind of like,
oh my god, now that I'm
similar.
thinking about it,
like you don't be like, yo, you're an Aries, okay, I fuck with you. You're an Aquarius, I hate you. You know, like it's sort of like you feel the person.
Some people do that though.
Some people do that, and I kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that was one of your questions. Like, how do you?
That is one of our questions.
Yeah, like how do you sort of get along with people? I feel like I try not to be biased because again, give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, and like people's signs are like I want to say like it's like the least not important, but like cool thing about you. I feel like also like what you contribute, what you put to the table, like how you act, your morals, that's more important to me. And then if you have a cute like sign, then you know that's also a plus.
It's a bonus.
But they are very important in terms of how you act and what you present.
So now, yeah, because we got into a lot of details there.
We did, yeah.
A lot of
we're
such astrology whores. Like, come on.
Well, the thing is that we kept going into it and like we kept getting off.
Yeah, but then we kept like we just kept going further into it and be like, wait, let's.
What we could talk about is, you know, we talked about like how signs are put into like the elements and the types of, fire signs, earth signs. There's also another breakdown.
Oh, yeah. Say that, because I have no idea.
Yeah, we can talk about cardinal, fixed, and mutable parts of the zodiac. So there's 3 different groups of 4 signs, and it's based on sort of the seasons also. So I'll try to say this correct, but there's cardinal signs, and cardinal signs are the Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And what's important about them is that they're initiatives. They are more so entrepreneur. They sort of are the idea makers and the idea starters. And it's funny because they are always at the start of every season. So Aries is spring and Capricorn's winter. I can't think. Libras, around the fall time, and Cancer is always like, the good chunk of the summer. So it's always at the start of a season, which is very important in terms of a cardinal sign. Your idea starters, and then they're also the start of the season.
Are they like innovators?
Very much innovators. They're good leaders, naturally born leaders. So,
you like to tell me that,
2 leaders here. I don't mean to gas us up, but
you don't need to tell me that.
That's what it's supposed to mean. And there's fixed signs. So the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And how I said earlier how they can, or did I say sometimes fire signs can be sort of stubborn. They can also be very attached. The term fixed, don't seem like you're very eager to sort of change, or maybe afraid of change. They might be slow at initiating certain ideas or things that they want to get done. And not to say cardinal signs don't do that, but they're just known as people who are naturally better at being, sort of starting what they need to do. You started
not procrastinating.
Yeah, or you started your podcast and your website, and you just kind of you found your passion, and you just sort of blew it up and went with it. Sometimes for fixed signs it might be hard for them to experience that.
What were the signs for fixed signs?
The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Okay. Because I feel for me being an Aries, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't not do it. If I don't not do it, it's because I never wanted to do it in the first place. But if I put my foot down and create all this stuff and envision it in my head, it's getting done.
Yeah. 100%.
No matter how hard it seems.
And then the last category is the mutable signs, and those are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And they're very versatile. I sort of call them adaptable, mutable, they're able to switch on and off. And that's sort of what I was getting to when talking about Gemini, where they can sort of fit into every category essentially. They can kind of seem avoidant at the same time, because if you're sort of changing around, people probably take on a lot of people's problems to avoid their own. That can sort of be a mutable kind of standpoint also.
And Sagittarius was in that?
Yes. Pisces, Virgo, and Gemini.
Interesting.
So that's another way to look at it. People then categorize themselves into that form also. I'm a cardinal sign, so I know my best friend Joey, he's an Aries sun and a Cancer moon and rising, so all cardinal, and they're really? Big 3. Yeah, so that's sort of I can see that for them. They always want to, whatever they want to do, they'll get it done, and they're very hardworking. And then for me, I'm a Capricorn sun, Leo moon, Virgo rising. So I'm kind of all over the place. My sun is cardinal, my moon is fixed. Yeah. And my rising is mutable. And that sort of makes sense for me, because I feel my emotion, I don't really open up. Yeah. And I'm very stubborn when it comes to talking about how I feel. I never cry in front of people. There's only I feel a handful of people that I cry, and I feel that's also you can argue and say that that's trauma, but but also I feel I think the way our birth chart kind of tells its story is that no matter what we're faced, whether it's a lot of trauma, unfortunately, or maybe a quote unquote easygoing life, I feel though whatever our signs are, It's just things that we need to work on, and they might be harder for some folks.
Yeah, like none of this should be taken so literally, where like you kind of get in your head, it's like, oh my god, like I'm not emotional and I'm a water sign, I'm not like an entrepreneur or like have
it's just
that
stuff that you need to work on. Exactly.
It kind of gives you a rough draft of your life path, and understanding and realizing who you are currently, who you were in a past life, or like you said, in your childhood, and who you can potentially become in the future. And I know like I mentioned earlier, CoStar does such a good job of breaking down everything. Yeah. And they send you cute little notifications every morning to like uplift you and motivate you. And you can add different people on it too. Like you can have your friends' charts, family members' charts, and you can see how compatible you guys are. Yeah.
That's what I just want to do, like a little disclaimer, because I feel like I used to use CoStar a lot, and I still do. They're really good in terms of keeping, like what you said, like keeping people's charts. So, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, why am I arguing with this person? Yeah. Oh wait, I had them on CoStar. Let me like just see, and like you can see like, okay, maybe their Mars is in like like conflicting with mine or something like that. But I don't take their definitions or their descriptions too literally, because I feel like they're a little bit inaccurate. I don't think they're made by astrologists, so that sort of is disappointing. Yeah. That's why I recommend to the AstroSeek girlies, because a lot of celebrities and also, you know, people, professional people who are into astrology do use AstroSeek a lot more.
I'll have to put that in the show notes, because I've never checked that out, so I definitely have to check that out too.
Yeah, 100%.
You know whose celebrity I was looking up what their sign was? Because now my new obsession with them is just like Johnny Bananas.
Oh my god, he's a Cancer. He's a Cancer.
I know.
And
I didn't think he was.
For those who watch the challenge, you know, Johnny Bananas is known to be like the villain.
Sexy.
He's like the villain, the drama starter of the show.
I did not think he was a Cancer.
Yeah, he's a Cancer, and it sort of makes sense, because that's why, spoiler alert, you know, he was hurt that Sarah kind of
does get emotional.
Yeah,
but
he does that, and then like the minute like someone does something on him, he's like, ugh. Fuck you. Like, why would you do that? But she took it from you. You know, she took the advice from you. So he's a Cancer. But like, he would again, that's a sun. He has the whole chart.
I know the rest that we don't know. You
probably like look it up.
But you probably could look up what his moon and rising was. But I was kind of shocked to look that up. If you guys don't know what the challenge is or who Johnny Bananas is, it's on Paramount Plus, and I highly recommend watching it, because he is just
I think I found it.
Nice eye candy to look at.
AstroSeek, so it looks like that.
Oh, okay.
And you can do a lot of things on here. So
I think he was born in New York.
No, he was born in Santa Monica.
Oh.
June 22nd, I think, was his year, 1975. I just looked it up. 1982.
Okay, let's get into how to find out someone's astrology sign. Just stalk them. Whatever you got to do, stalk them, find their first and last name, the date that they were born, the place that they were born, and the time. And the internet is a very great thing, so you can probably find it all if you really try. Oh my god,
one of my favorite things to do, you know, when I used to watch, or I still do, Jersey Shore, I like know all of their signs.
Ronnie, I was so not surprised that he was a Sagittarius.
But he's a Pisces moon. Sammy's a Pisces sun, Pisces moon, so that's why they were so attached.
Yes.
Snooki, I think, is also Sagittarius. I think I have to double check that.
Because her birthday is the same as my dad's.
Okay,
and they're Sagittarius. So is Miley Cyrus's.
I think Jenny. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Jenny JWoww is a Pisces sun, Aries moon, I think. And people with Aries moon are also known to be like Amazon, like Amazonian, like, you know, very strong, feminine sort of energy. Vinny is a Scorpio, I think.
Yes, he is a Scorpio. Which makes sense, because he's such a
Mike and Polly are both Cancers. Yeah, I can believe that. And I think Dina's a Capricorn. I don't know if I'm missing anyone.
No, that's it. Well, Angelina, but
I don't know hers. I don't know her chart.
Whatever.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Johnny Bananas is a sun and moon in Cancer. His Mercury's in Gemini. His Venus is in Taurus. Mars is in Libra.
His sun and moon are Cancer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what's really funny? So, on top of what we were talking about, I know we went off on a really big tangent, and we're circling back. Is that, you know, the planets are also, they have their own like ruling signs. So for example, the sun is represented by, or sorry, Leo is represented by the sun, Cancer by the moon, Mercury by Virgo and Gemini, Mars by Aries and Scorpio, Venus by Taurus and Libra, question mark. What else? I feel like I'm missing a lot. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Yeah. So like, for how shady...
Well, Venus is love, right?
Right.
That's love.
But it's ruled by Libra and Taurus. Like, those are the planets that, like, at, quote-unquote, at home. And then, for example, like, it's, like, an example chart for Johnny Bananas. He has a lot of stable placements because they're at home. Mm-hmm. So, for example, his moon is in Cancer, which that's where the moon likes to be in. And okay. When you have... And again, when we go back to sister signs... Capricorn and Cancer are quote-unquote sister signs, and when the moon is in Capricorn, or you have a Capricorn moon, it's known as a detriment, because that's just where the moon doesn't like to be. And so people with Capricorn moon might have very hard time they might struggle with their emotions.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
is that why I don't get along with Scorpios, because we're both in Mars?
Well, you guys aren't sister signs. That
so
could
what's
be
my sister sign.
You're in Aries. Your sister sign is Libra.
Interesting.
So what a sister sign is that it's sort of different, but you guys do share a similar quality.
Gotcha.
And it's, again, usually your sister sign is like the element that like your sign likes. So fire and air, water and earth. I'm a Capricorn sun. My sister sign is Cancer. You're an Aries sun, your sister sign is Libra. And if you were a Taurus, I think your sister sign would be Scorpio, question mark? I'm sorry, like, I'm not like...
There's so many.
They are.
There's so much like that we could get into. I can do a whole podcast on just astrology.
Oh, 100%. It has to be like easy. Multiple like chapters of it.
Easy peasy. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into, it was coming close to the end time, but right. I have some questions that we can get into. Do you feel like your signs represent like who you are, or do you feel like they're kind of off?
I do. I think it makes sense of why I am the way I am, and sort of like how I get along with, like, for example, like my home life is not the best. So I feel like that the way I sort of act and feel is very conflicting towards like my parents' signs, for example. So I think, and the way I also like carry myself, I feel like it just makes sense.
You have a calming energy.
I do. I feel like I'm very chill.
Yes.
There's very few times where I get very angry, but when I do, I blow up.
Yeah.
So it kind of just like, I think it makes sense for me. And I feel like if it doesn't make sense for you or for the viewers, I feel like, you know, maybe not being so literal with it is also very important, because, you know, I'm not like, oh my god, this happened to me, it has to be because I'm a Leo moon, you know. Like, I don't really think that way. I kind of like take the big picture of things,
right,
and sort of,
which is important.
Yeah. And I sort of just like put it into my own perspective. Like, we all have different signs for a reason. Like, we can't, you know, just because one person's a Scorpio doesn't mean that another Scorpio is going to act the same way. Again, like, we're made up a million different, like, you know, we're not going to get into it, but like degrees and houses and all that, you know, it's more than just what your sun sign is.
So much more.
And if we want to be like,
and we've just scratched the surface.
And if we want to be technical with it, you know, what is most famously known is tropical astrology, which is what we do, which is our sun, or like,
okay,
our, you know, you're born in March, and you're in Aries, but those we're basing off on constellations that are like more than thousands of years ago. And now that the Earth has moved in space, like, we have all, like, the galaxy has moved in space, the constellations are different today. And then the argument is why are we using quote unquote old astrology? So a lot of modern astrologists sort of calculate your birth chart based on the constellations that are in the sky right now, and that's considered sidereal astrology. So we have an entirely different birth chart for that.
Oh my god.
And it gets kind of confusing. So, you know, what we said, I'm a Capricorn, Mariah's an Aries, that's sort of tropical. Sidereal, I'd be a Sagittarius, and you would be a Pisces. It goes backwards.
Really?
And then it kind of just like, there's also, they include a 13th sign. It has a weird name.
That. Yeah.
That's in sidereal. So like it's in between Cancer and Leo. I think I have to double check. But
interesting.
What's it called? I have to like look it up because I don't really, my sidereal chart does make some sort of sense, but I am so used to like, you know.
Plus we were born 22 years ago. So
yeah, but you know, but our astrology that we use is from thousands of years ago.
So when did the sidereal shit start?
It started, well, from when we were born till now, the constellations probably didn't move much. So they probably start within like the last like 100 years or so.
Gotcha.
You know? So that's what a lot of people, you know, when you sort of talk to professional astrologists, you know, they will be like, okay, this is your sidereal reading and this is your tropical reading. Mm-hmm. And there's even a third birth chart that people look into.
No, thank you. We're not getting into it.
We're not getting into it, but you know, if you were to be curious about it, you know, there's a lot of different websites and sources that you can use to sort of. Oh, and also another form of AstroSeek that's very cool is that you can calculate your past lives birth charts, which is like so mind blowing.
Yeah.
But it is sort of like a mind fuck. I feel like if you have a whole day to like just
sit down and look at that.
Like go through the website. It's astro-seek, like seek.com.
And it shows your past life too.
Yeah, there's like different sort of birth charts that you can calculate. And also like when you calculate your birth chart, you can click either sidereal or tropical and it does it for you. And it shows you the circle, the wheel.
Yeah.
Birth chart and also like the ones laid out for people who don't know how to read that yet. So it's very user friendly. I think it's more accurate. It's made by people who are very much into the practice instead of people like, you know, CoStar is very good in terms of like keeping, like I would use it to like keep all my friends like signs and charts.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
you can
kind of like have, it's like a little journal with like everyone's stuff. But then like if you want to like have an encyclopedia of
your own.
Yeah, and astrology, then yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this can kind of be like the last question. We kind of briefly touched on it, like those bitches who are like, I'm not talking to you because you're an Aries. Yeah. I'm not dealing with you. And I kind of said that I'm kind of like that because I just have really bad experiences with Scorpios. And they all have the same common denominator that they're a Scorpio. So kind of just makes sense.
I think the way we want to categorize and approach people, that's totally fine. Whatever works for you is obviously working because, you know, you're avoiding people who have those red flags. And unfortunately, they do come from the same sign. So that's fine. I feel like I've just met so many different people that, like, you know, I try to, like, have that be, like, a surprise and be like, let me try to guess what you are. And then, like, if I, you know, if we vibe, then you can be in my life and we don't, then we'll...
Whatever.
In another life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I feel like if you do think that way, that's totally fine, you know? Just, if it's okay that people think differently.
And how do we feel about... I don't want to be like gender specific, but it's mostly men who are like, ugh,
straight cis men.
It's wait, say that again.
Straight cis men, like people who are non-binary, and are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basic, but just like the men who are like, oh, that bitch is an astrology bitch. Like
that's a red flag. I feel like
I hate men.
I think it's what you're saying is usually cis men who say that. You know, they're like, oh, you're in astrology, like you're weird. It's like,
yeah, and they're like, oh, stupid. You're one of those.
Yeah,
quote unquote. Like, that's literally what they say.
Like,
you're
do you
one
have
of
a crystal ball? And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, I just like that's just a form of like,
yeah. Let me just punch you in the fucking face.
Yeah. Like you're obviously like a red flag. Like,
it is.
You're toxic. What are you
like
doing?
with the red flag trends that was on Twitter?
Oh my god.
There was one that said it was like when men like say like, oh, you're into astrology.
Yeah.
And it was like the red flag. So I was like, yeah, that's a big red flag. Because like, just be open to it. I don't get it. I'm not just like turning you down because you're whatever. But the fact that you're so like, they just get angry and like aggressive about it. I feel like a lot of the times when I talk about astrology.
Yeah. No, they're assholes. So it's fine.
But this is such a fun little basic, even though we got into super nitty gritty details. I
feel like we got detailed, but then we also got sidetracked. So if you have any other questions.
Yeah, and I think it's so, not that it's fun, but I think it's kind of important to know what your own chart is. So to look that up, like we mentioned, CoStar and AstroSeek, which I'll put both of them in the show notes so you can check them out, because I actually haven't checked out AstroSeek, so I want to look at that too. And CoStars, you can share your profiles. We probably share our own profiles. I'll put my profile in CoStar in the show notes too, so you can just add me and I can see what the fuck you guys are, and we can stay on top of it.
I think I had to re-download mine, but yeah, I'll have to.
I think I have to re-download mine too, because I haven't gotten a notification in dumb long. But also, if you guys haven't checked out any of the astrology articles that Kait has written for the site, check those out. I also have
You also have some.
I have the elements that I have 4 articles that are broken up into the different elements that summarize all of those really in a lot of detail, how you interact with yourself, how you interact with others, all the planets that you're ruled by, and that gets into a lot more details in the articles, and you can find all of those underneath the astrology section on my site.
Mused by Mariah.
Mused by Mariah.
And it's Halloween weekend, so
oh my god, I forgot to even mention that.
Yeah, like dive into it.
New moon's coming up.
We're also going to Salem tomorrow, so we're going to be very much grounded and
witchy. There's going to be a lot of energy flowing.
A lot of energy. That's what I was
when we go to Salem, first timers. On Halloween.
So stay tuned. You're probably gonna have
I'm gonna post so much content. I will definitely be posting a Boston article on my travel site too, so stay tuned for all that shit, because that's a lot of shit that I just mentioned. And thank you, Kait, for joining.
Yeah,
I need you back.
Of course, yeah. This is the first time we've seen each other
in like
since
2 years.
COVID has dropped, unfortunately.
Yeah, in literally like 2 years.
No, we're gonna make more plans to keep this going.
Yeah, we'll have a breakfast club part 2.
Yeah,
astrology
100%.
Edition.
Yeah,
again, and we'll get into more details about the houses and the degrees and all that shit that she was talking about, because I don't even know what the fuck she was talking about. Well, thanks guys. Make sure you check out the website at musedbymariah.com.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
This is going to be the last test.
My name is Kait.
My name is Mariah.
We're just testing for volume. No echo-ness here. Try it. I don't know.
No echo-ness here. We are having clear-cut voices.
Yeah.